My name is Mike George. I'm the owner of Aurelius Fine Oils and Balsamic Vinegars. We're at 1283 Unit B Wellington Street West here in Ottawa. We have some amazing olive oils and balsamic vinegars, really high quality, really authentic products as well. Things that you get here, you know that you're getting the real deal. So they've been third-party tested. They're just really high quality base ingredients and high quality flavorings as well. We opened up this shop in 2018, but before that, for about 2 years, I was doing this part-time with kind of the oil that got me started in this. So I started bringing olive oil in from where my family lives in Italy, and I would go to local bakeries and just talk to the restaurants. And for about 2 years, I was selling that olive oil part-time while I was still in the military. And then I decided to, make a go of it and go full-time. So released out of the military in June 2018, and then we opened up our space here in Wellington West in September of 2018. So I have family that lives in Italy, and in 2015, my uncle, basically, he makes his own small batch olive oil, just very much like people make their own maple syrup here. Everybody kind of does it there. And he asked me if there'd be basically an appetite for Canadians with an oil that's a little bit more, going on, a little more grass and bitter notes and some pepperiness. What we're kind of used to here in North America is a little bit more bland and neutral oils, but the real thing has a little more substance, a little more going on. So with that question, it just started something inside me where I just decided to, I'm gonna make it happen, and figured everything out from scratch, brought over a small amount, and just got all my friends and some of the restaurants to taste it, and they told me, this is actually super awesome. Well, I've always been passionate about quality more than anything. So I knew I had something special. Yeah, that's kind of how it started. First thing that we try to do is find out what you're interested in. Are you looking as a gift? Because we are a kind of perfect shop for gifts for foodies. So unique and something high quality that's not just a bottle of wine, right? But primarily for using at home, we try to find out, okay, like what do you currently do? So, okay, I just use salads. Okay, well, they're great applications for salads. So we have our general line, which are all up to 40 different flavors between the oils and the balsamics. So think fig dark balsamic, strawberry dark balsamic, basil oil, rosemary oil, things like that. And then we have our exclusive products. So the small batch imports that I bring in myself. So the oil from where my family lives, extra virgin oil, authentic small batch. It's the same oil that the locals use in that village. Amazing finishing oil. The 3-year Balsamico that I bring in, we found that supplier ourselves, and both of them are such small artisanal productions that they don't export to North America. So really special, really high end. And then once they answer that question, we can figure out, okay, well, let's try some flavored products. Or if you're more of a purist, definitely suggest going with these, because once you taste them, you'll totally become a believer. In general, let's talk about what's different compared to a grocery store product. So first things, it's extremely large scale production, huge commercial productions, right? Grocery store products have really bad rap because tons of fraud used to happen and probably still do. The old saying is that 8 out of 10 bottles in a grocery store of extra virgin oil is fraudulent in some way or mislabeled in some way. It's super easy to mix some oil, some less good quality oil with a little bit of good oil, and then pass it off as the better oil. That's what the problem is. That being said, things have gotten better. The CFIA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, actually does a really good job of controlling. So like I've had my oil controlled 3 times by CFIA, and I'm a super small guy. So I would imagine the large importers would definitely have their eye on it. That's the first thing. Grocery store oil compared to what we taste in store, completely different. It's the same with wine, it's the same with coffee, it's the same with anything, right? You can have huge mass production products, and when you taste them, and then you taste the same thing, but from a high quality small batch production, you're gonna notice a big difference. Then the second layer to that is within the store, our general line and our exclusive small batch. The general line is still leaps and bounds ahead of what we'll find in a grocery store in terms of quality and taste and nuances. However, they're still pretty large scale productions because we get them from a supplier which supplies thousands of stores like me throughout the States and Canada. Having said that, they are third party tested and audited. Their whole business is finding high quality producers, making sure that it's the real deal and the highest quality possible, giving access to all the chemistry tests and the information, so we're able to sell a high quality product right off the bat. And that's the big difference compared to what a grocery store product is. You have no idea, right? There's a little label that says packed in Italy, but packed in Italy doesn't mean it's Italian oil. If you look on the back, they'll say origin of, and it could be 5 different countries, right? And so you have no idea, it's like, well, what's the quality? Where does it come from? If you look on the back of our early harvest oil, I actually write the mill, the address of the mill down. So you can know within 20 kilometers of that mill, all the olives are hand-picked. So those are some of the differences. At the end of the day, as long as you know what you're consuming, as opposed to being misled, which potentially happens a little bit more with large scale productions that you find, like cheaper oils, that's where the problem is. I like to pair complementary flavors between the oils and the balsamics together, because they're all great individually, but paired together, they really enhance each other. So starting with the general line in the flavored products, I would say, basil infused oil, really, nice, herbaceous, very clean, crisp. It's amazing on its own, but paired with the grapefruit white balsamic, that pairing, for whatever reason, just really elevates. And it's a perfect combination for a nice, fresh garden salad, let's say. Another great combo would be, fig dark balsamic, classic Italian flavor, a little less of a sweet kind of kick, more of a kind of a savory, slightly sweet. And then pair that with something like a rosemary oil or a Tuscan herb oil. So for roasted potatoes, pizzas, breads, things like that, those are amazing flavors that work really well together. But my favorite is always gonna be the exclusive small batch products. So the early harvest from where my family lives in Italy, authentic, unflavored, high quality extra virgin oil. A nice buttery mouthfeel with some grass and bitter notes, and then a peppery finish, which is indicative of a high amount of healthy antioxidants, polyphenols. And then pair that with our balsamic or 3-year balsamic. Generally speaking, for a salad, the classic recipe for a vinaigrette is 2 or 3 portions oil to 1 portion balsamic, and then just a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's about it. So balsamic vinegar is a vinegar. It's comprised of 2 ingredients, grape must and wine vinegar. The more grape must you have, which is just churned and kind of boiled down grapes, the thicker and sweeter your balsamic will be. So grocery store products are very thin and sharp because they're primarily cheaper or lower quality wine vinegar, and then just a small amount of grape must or concentrated grape must, so think like a concentrated orange juice, and then a small amount of caramel coloring and flavoring, because it's primarily a red wine vinegar at this point. So they're trying to sweeten it and color it a little bit darker, and sometimes they add thickening agents. These products are the opposite. They're at a minimum 80%, a mix of grape must and concentrated grape must, and then 20% aged wine vinegar. Classic traditional use is a salad, but you can use it for everything, for meat marinades, roasted veggies. You can mix flavors together. You can use them individually on desserts, right? The classic strawberry with balsamic. If you want to be a little more health conscious, we can do it on yogurt in the morning, granola, oatmeal. A really great way to add some flavor and stay away from fake sugars. When we talk about the hierarchy of quality, extra virgin's at the top, and there's no refinement whatsoever. It's all mechanical means, so just the machines, no extra heat added to extract more, and no chemical additives. Virgin olive oil is as well in that category, but it has slight defects, and the acidity can go up to 2%, as opposed to the threshold for extra virgin oil is 0.8%. So anything above 0.8 can't be qualified as extra virgin. Then when you talk about olive oil, which pure olive oil or olive oil is actually a blend of extra virgin and refined oil. So when you're in the grocery store and you see olive oil, that's different than seeing extra virgin olive oil. And that's different than seeing virgin olive oil. So that's why you can't go to the grocery store and be like, I'm gonna buy a bottle for $4 for a liter of olive oil and think that's the same product as an extra virgin olive oil. And also think that that's the same as a high quality, small batch, authentic olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. The more people talk and know about where their products come from and the health benefits, but also more importantly, like how to use these products, the better I think we're all going to be.